because at strip clubs back then, even now, it all depends on the club though. But girls at this club, girls do dance. The girls get on stage. It's like a commercial,
right?
And then guys do private dances with them, and the club gets half of the money out of each private dance. So there has to be a guy keeping track of how many dances the girls did. Like a girl named Cherry, she did 14 dances. You still owe for 3 dances because they'll be paying during. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was called a floater. So initially I wasn't a DJ. They needed a guy to count table dances during the day. It was so slow during the day that they had the DJ do it. So the DJ would play music. He would take the money. He was working the front door, doing the music, and counting the dances. It's kind of a lot for the DJ. So
absolutely.
So Bill said, you know what? We're going to hire a guy just to count the dances. So the DJ didn't have to worry about that. He just handles the door and handles the music. And I worked Monday through Thursday at the Valley Ball. And back then it was called the Odd Ball. And then they changed the name to the Valley Ball. It's off Sepulveda and Roscoe. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I've been to the Frisky Kitty, but not the Valley Ball.
Okay.
The Frisky Kitty was actually close to Jean-Jacques' Academy in Oxnard.
Yes. And I remember that one. I've never been to that. Maybe I've been to that one once.
It's rancid,
sure.
bro.
It's
Nasty.
disgusting.
You walk in, you walk out with hepatitis, bro.
So that was in 1993 when I finally got into the strip club, and I ended up getting better and better shifts, and I started DJing, and then I DJ'd for it. I was there for until 2003, from 1993 to 2003.
I have to ask you something musically connected to what's emerging right now in, I guess you can say, the drum machine field. Like Atlanta, the strippers have power for putting out singles locally and getting it to radio. Did LA?
What?
I'll send you a link. It's a documentary by Sundance. It's called
I gotta see it.
Dog. It's dope as hell. Because what they do is you have all the artists come into the strip clubs. The strippers are the conduit to the DJs. What you were doing, because you're both technically a DJ and a hype man.
Yeah.
And then you're connected to the local radio. And that's how the ATL scene is blowing up. Check this out. In Louisiana, there's a dance scene called bounce dancing. It's kind of like a mixture of up-tempo TR-808, like ass-shaking music. That's big in Louisiana right now, too. It's absolutely instrumental because they're sampling and resampling. Uh-huh. It doesn't get out, unlike PPM or like regular radio.
Yeah.
So, and I think girls at strip clubs, they don't take home all that money because they have to tip the doorman.
Yep.
The DJ.
Yep.
And other cats who try to help them out.
Depending on the club. Some clubs, the girl don't have to tip out anybody. It all depends on how the owner runs it. But when I worked, the stripper had to tip out the DJ, the bartender, and the floater.
Okay, so that's a very tiny painting of what you're going through. Now, I do believe you saw UFC 2 first.
No. Go back again. Explain to me the stripper thing and how they're getting music out.
Basically, recording artists, well, they're going to floss their shit anyways,
We'll get
right?
strippers to dance to their songs.
Well, they pay strippers to dance for them. And then in the middle of paying for the dance, they go through negotiations and go, I got a single.
Okay.
Could you holler at this to the DJ? She'd be like, all right, I'm going to check it out. Then you have to buy multiple dances with the stripper.
Yeah.
Because she's like your point person.
Yeah.
Tosses it to the DJ. And Atlanta, I don't know if you knew this, the stripper scene, the dance scene is huge. It's almost just instrumental if like E40, though that's Oakland, were to blow up right now. It's a lot of it is because of the small DJs from dance clubs and strip clubs. So basically it goes artist, repeat customer to the stripper to the DJ, DJ to radio DJs.
Yeah.
Interesting thing.
And it works.
It works for Atlanta. They have their own running economy of underground music, which LA could be that. LA could exactly be like that because I think you're into goth, rock, and hip hop. Mm-hmm. You may want to holler at Bill again if he's still into the scene. You know, that's something pretty instrumental to like underground subcultures right now.
Yeah. And, a lot of strippers have very good taste in music, and they're very picky because they got to get on stage and get naked. So they want to make sure the song they get naked to, that's that's close to their heart.
Absolutely.
They're very particular with their music. They would come up and say, okay, play track 3 on this song and fast forward 32 seconds, and then play track 9 on this song, but make sure you cut it at 2:45 because I don't want to get. They're very particular. Yeah, they got a little dance routine all figured out. How they're going to bend over to this part.
Right.
It's hilarious.
Oh, on this 8th bar, I'm going to do that booty shake right there. You know,
one thing I used to do is there's certain songs that are classic stripper songs, like "Erotica" by Madonna. I mean, back in the 90s, that was huge. "Closer" by 9 Inch Nails. Many songs by Marilyn Manson. There's stripper songs that are classic stripper songs, and one of them was, the band Enigma.
Yeah,
Enigma. They had this Mia Culpa song.
They're more chanty and choir.
Yeah,
right?
It's like super mystical chanty choir, but with a hip hop beat.
Right.
Yeah, and their biggest song, I think it's called Mia Culpa or something, but. Right at 2:45, there's a hip hop beat going on, and there's all this like Gregorian chants and Vatican type chants and shit.
Right.
And at 2:45, all the music drops out, and just for a couple beats, there's a girl going, and then boom. So there's a little break with the girl. It sounds like a girl, maybe like real sensual masturbation little scene or something. It sounds really sexual, but in a classy way, right? So there's this on Joe Rogan's first CD. The opening bit is, have you heard of the weightlifting bit he did with Brian Callen?
No, I haven't seen that. Is it pretty dope?
Well, it's a weightlifting bit where, Brian Callen comes over and they're going to lift weights in the basement, and Brian Callen is talking about how he's insecure about his ass, that his girlfriend doesn't think it's round enough. And then Joe goes, she's ridiculous. Let me see, take your pants off. Let me see how round and tight that is, And then it turns into a gay thing where, man, that ass is tight. Don't forget about what your wife says. Damn.
Right.
Fuck. Let me see how tight it is. And then he sticks his dick in his ass and he starts fucking her right. And he goes, it's so tight. Your wife is full of shit. And Brian's all, ah. And there's a part right where he busts a nut and he's all like, oh. And what I do is I mix that right when
video mix.
Yeah, right when that Enigma part drops out and you hear a girl go, then I throw Joe Rogan on top of that going, the girl hated it, but the manager loved it, so I got to keep doing it.
What's your relationship with Joe Rogan now? Like, I know you guys are both really busy, but I know you guys were like roll dogs for the longest time.
Yeah. When we were both single and we didn't have kids, oh man, we hung out together
Bananas.
all the time, man. It was insane. But he's married, I'm married. He's got 3 kids. I have a son, and I don't hang out with anybody. I hang out with my son.
Work, right?
My best friend is my son. That's my best friend right
How
there.
many kids do you have?
1.
Just one. How old's your son?
He's 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. So I don't hang out with anybody. I just go teach, come back and hang out with Draco. Go teach or go to the gym and come back. Because it's gym, Draco. Teach, Draco. That's it. That's all I do.
Now, I know a lot.
And the podcast. I do that too.
Right, and you do that every Sundays, is it?
Sunday nights, yeah.
Sunday nights. And then what's the concept of your actual podcast? Is it more like long form conversational with just Alder and the rest of them?
It's like Joe Rogan's podcast, except instead of just having one co-host, like he has Red Band, I have 3.
Sure.
And we have guests, and we just bullshit. It's called Eddie Bravo Radio. You could go to iTunes or Stitcher and download it, and we're having fun with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Now, as we shift in towards the fight game, boxing, MMA, or even jiu-jitsu organizations, there's always trifling things that go under. Could you share the story when not so much by ethnicity, but the Japanese hit you up to fight a particular someone at a particular organization, and you were supposed to win. How did that come about?
I knew a guy named Eddie from the Fight Game, where I used to commentate for King of the Cage, and he said, "Hey man, some guy from this big organization in Japan wants to talk to you about doing a grappling match on an MMA show." And
it was strictly grappling. It wasn't an MMA
initially.
fight. Okay, initially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he goes, he set it up. Eddie set it up. We met at the Beverly Wilshire, and Japanese guy with shades, super Yakuza looking, and he...
straight out of the fucking movies.
It was crazy. He said, "We want you to fight Takoro, right? In the grappling match." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, what about if we made it an MMA match, but we had you win?" I said, "First of all, I don't do MMA, and
right.
And what do you mean?" And I look over at Eddie, and he goes, "Well, we'll make you look good. We want to make you a big star in Japan. We want to get you a record deal in Japan, and we'll set up a meeting with Sony Records."
Bing, record deal.
I'm like, these guys are pretty smart. I don't fight MMA. And he goes, "Well, how much to get you to fight, and we'll make sure you win? How much?" And I said, "Hey, you give me $85,000, I'll fight MMA. Cash." He gets on his phone. He goes, "Done." And I'm like, "Damn!"
Like
I go, "Wait a minute." So then I said, there's no way I was going to do a fake fight, but he kept saying, and I said, I didn't want to do a fake fight. And I said, "Well, I'm going to need at least 6 months to train." He goes, "Oh, no, we got to do this next month." I go, no, I got to do this. He goes, "I need to train, man. I need it." He goes, "You're going to win. You don't need to train. We're gonna make it so that you win." And I thought right there, I'm being set up. I go, this is bullshit. So I just went along with the conversation, and I just never spoke to him ever since. I'm not gonna be involved in that kind of shit,
Wasn't John McCarthy also offered to fight like Takada? That was kind of like the rumors.
That's what he said. He said, I think
actually in your podcast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, there's always like 2-3 sides into an organization. Did you ever encounter that with the Sheik with the Abu Dhabis? Were there any like offers to fight?
No. Like
fairly clean.
There's no bullshit. The only kind of bullshit there ever was in Abu Dhabi was between the actual combatants. Like Gracie Baja, if they would fight each other, if they would meet up each other, someone would bow out, and it would be like an exhibition match.
I'm gonna make.
It had nothing to do with the Sheik. The Sheik is not down for any kind of fixing at all.
Right, because he's fairly disciplined, honors the art. Yeah. The Sheik is the Sheik.
Yeah, he's not involved in any like faking fights or anything like that. He wants to see the real shit. He doesn't care about fake shit. He's got enough money. He just like, what is he gonna fake shit to win money? Like,
right.
That's not what it's about for him.
Do you feel like, because all the audiences are far more intelligent now when it comes to fighting, where martial art movies are either not that good, or you have to go so extreme left, like you almost have to do like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons, and the Never Back Downs, which I think you were on Never Back Down too as a choreographer, right?
Yeah. I actually played the DJ in that too as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And I think I saw some credits of music.
Yeah. At the Dropped was on that soundtrack. At the very end, they busted out at the end of the movie. But
do you feel with the knowledge that you guys have given to the audience, there isn't really any room for like a realistic fight movie? It's almost you have to go far left like the Chinese and do some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon shit.
I think you can do a realistic movie. I heard Warrior was good, although I've never seen it.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. The thing with MMA movies is you might think that it's not possible. It's just, to me, in my opinion, it's just the guys with the green light power
have to know.
Don't know anything about MMA. They think they do. They just think, oh my God, MMA's hot. You see UFC everywhere. Let's make a UFC movie, and they just don't understand. And just like any genre, most movies suck. So it's
Right.
like saying, man, it's hard to make a realistic war movie because they all suck. But some are good, and we've seen Warrior. I keep hearing great things about it. I think it's
Carano.
possible. I think it's possible.
Gina Carano's Haywire was pretty well done.
Was that an MMA based movie?
No, I personally feel MMA or any martial culture should be the backdrop.
Yeah.
Where like Steven Soderbergh is dope as shit, and he made Gina Carano's fighting almost in the Bourne identity or the Bourne series methodology.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dope.
So the movie was good. Haywire. It was good.
Absolutely, I love
Really?
Steven Soderbergh.
Oh, okay.
It tells a story.
Okay.
Like with Warrior, the backdrop is about the feuding struggle. Where Nick Nolte, I mean, he flexes his fucking acting skills. Like you could tell, like this dude actually, you know, though he's a bit of a drunkard and has a bad rep, but you know what, this guy's got some acting skills. I know I tweeted out a couple of fans, and this is a really good probably reaction that we'd love to get from you. I think they didn't publicize you enough when you tapped out Royce Gracie. Like, we didn't catch any pictures, photos, media press. What's your reaction to that?
In Brazil?
Abu Dhabi.
Well, I did get press outside of Brazil. Brazil didn't cover it at all.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't.
That's a reaction.
They didn't cover it all. No.
Is that pride centric to the Brazilians?
I don't know. I mean, it's got to have something to do with politics. I mean, the prodigy son got beat, and they didn't want to celebrate that.
Right.
When you looked at the Abu Dhabi version of Gracie magazine, there was no pictures of that match.
Absolutely.
There was nothing. There was a small little mention, and it's arguably the biggest upset in jiu-jitsu history.
I would say so.
Here's some loser.
A brown belt. You were a brown belt
yeah,
at that time.
Submitting Royler, who no one even scored a point on. You know, that's a huge upset. So, you know,
Absolutely.
So to completely have a blackout in Brazil about it was kind of weird. But the rest of the world embraced it. Australia, immediately I got in magazine Australia and Japan and the United States and Grappling magazine in the United States. So everywhere around the world except Brazil embraced that upset.
Which I know you're doing something to commandeer like all the political stuff with Subworld. You have like a sub tournament, a sub only tournament. Sub only world.
Yeah.
Right. If you could explain to the watching, to the viewers, like how is Subworld different?
Well, I think it's baffling how Jiu-Jitsu, the core of the UFC, the base of the UFC, is not on TV. Like, how is that possible? The UFC is the hottest sport on the planet. It's like a meteor. And Jiu-Jitsu, the reason the UFC is even around, is not on TV anywhere. You got dog frisbee on TV. You got pool on TV. You
Paintball.
Got just the dumbest shit on TV.
Right.
But you can't put Jiu-Jitsu on TV. And to me, the reason for that is the point system, the format. It's boring. I don't think you'll ever see gi jiu-jitsu on TV. We haven't seen it it's been, 20 years now? Since 93 was the first UFC?
Right.
20 years. Been 20 years. And there's no jiu-jitsu on TV anywhere? That doesn't make any sense.
And no gi jiu-jitsu is much faster than gi jiu-jitsu, so it should be exciting.
But still, the point system.
The stall tactics.
There's too much stalling in jiu-jitsu. It's way more in the gi, but still, with no gi, the point system breeds stalling. The point system is designed for the competitor, and it's designed for his coach and his teammates. Because the point system is awesome when you get 2 points, or your teammate just got 2 points and you're telling him to hold. There's 30 seconds. Don't make a mistake. Hold on. You got a minute left. Just hold on. You're ahead. Don't do anything stupid. So for the team winning, that's a good thing. Like, that's how I would be coaching in a point system. Don't do anything. Don't mess it up. You know. So what it does is it kills it for the spectator.
The entertainment value.
Yeah, that just kills the entertainment value. Anytime there's any kind of points, as soon as you're a little bit ahead, you start. You even see it a little bit in MMA too.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
See it a little in MMA. If a guy clearly won the first 2 rounds, clearly he might kick back in the 3rd round. But so there's a problem with that, but you can get away with it in MMA because it's so much more exciting because of the punches and the striking. You deal with that.
Right.
You could deal with it. It's an obsession of mine to get jiu-jitsu on TV and have it be exciting. That's what this is all about. And there's no way that's going to happen with points or judges or any of that kind of shit.
They have fucking dog tournaments that are walking on ESPN right now.
Jesus
and
Christ.
No fucking jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Buff dudes pulling trucks. Right. Nobody watches that shit, yet it's on TV. It's ridiculous.
I need you to react to this because I'm from a casual observer. I feel like there's a lot of flaws in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game now in MMA. Like, people aren't practicing the guard as well. And if you can't outstrike a guy, if you can't take down a guy, pull guard. Mm-hmm. What's your initial reaction to that? Is this such a fun? Am I completely wrong, or is this like a fundamental practice that isn't even being harnessed in a fighter nowadays?
I believe pulling guard is essential in a young MMA fighter's career because most fighters today won't pull guard. They refuse to pull guard, and most fighters today have 2 ways to win. They could win on their feet, or they could win by taking the fight down and beating a guy on top. They have 2 ways. If they can't take the guy down, then they have 1 way. They better beat him standing.
Right.
So it becomes really quick. You start hitting the top 20 in the world. It's very difficult to take fighters down in the top 20. So you're going to run into fighters really quick that you can't take down. That's going to happen. All you MMA fighters out there, you're going to run into, maybe in the C level, you can take everyone down. But ultimately, you get to the B level, it's going to be a little harder. Man, there's guys that have wrestled their whole lives that can't take down kickboxers now. The takedown defense level is incredible right now. So
right.
You're going to run into guys very quickly you can't take down. So then it turns into a kickboxing match. Is it your dream, or do you really believe you could be a kickboxing world champion and you're going to go to the top knocking everybody out without you getting shut off a few times on your way? So then it becomes Russian roulette. As soon as you can't take a guy down, now you're playing Russian roulette. That's all it is. So if your guard is as dangerous as Vinny Magalhaes, or if it's as dangerous as Paul Sass, now you have 3 ways to win. If you could take the guy down, take him down, get on top of him, pound him or submit him. If you could beat him striking, beat his ass on the feet. But if you remember, there's going to be guys you can't take down, so then it becomes Russian roulette. You want to play Russian roulette, or is your guard well polished, and did you develop the right guard to play in MMA so you could pull guard and not have to play Russian roulette? And you play a submission game. So it's really simple science. What's the smartest thing to do? Develop 3 ways to win or 2 ways to win? I believe 3 ways to win is the smart thing to do, and I believe that's eventually in the future we'll see it. Just like all the kung fu and karate kicks that people made fun of in the 90s, look where we're at now. Back in the late 90s, no one was really spending that much time at all with head kicks or any kind of spinning kicks or anything. Now we know all that is very important, and if you're an MMA fighter, you better be adding as many different kicks as you can.
Sakuraba-isms.
You better.
All the unorthodox stuff.
You better look at Josh Thompson throwing everything. Look at that. Look at Lorenzo Larkin. Look at that dude. Look at him throwing those kicks. Throwing those. If it's a good thing to be as versatile with your kicks as possible. So in the same sense, it's a good thing to be very versatile with your jiu-jitsu, which means it's a good thing to be very dangerous off your back. That's a good thing for MMA. That's not a bad thing. The problem is very few people are really good off their back without the collar and the sleeve, and then you add punches and elbows. It's a whole different game. So you have these MMA fighters young MMA fighters that don't really know the history of MMA and the evolution of the techniques. They come into an MMA gym and they ask, I want to be a fighter. Can you train me? They don't have that many choices. So this MMA gym is training them. And if the jiu-jitsu coach sucks at the guard without handles and punches, then he's going to probably tell the fighter, listen, in MMA, there's so much you got to work on your striking, your wrestling, you got to get your cardio together. Don't spend time on your back, because if you're on your back, you're losing. And the young MMA fighter's just like, okay, you're just going to believe everything. Yeah, you're like, yeah. But if you're on your back, you're losing. So don't even train it. You want to be on top. You want to, when they're saying a lot of stuff that's valid, but yeah, you want to be on top. Yeah, you want to beat the guy standing. But what happens if you run into a guy that you can't take down and he's tattooing you in the first and second round? It'd be nice to have a third option, be able to pull guard and wreck him, and then that coach will say the same thing, man, pulling guard is suicidal. And then the young fighter go, oh, okay, I don't want to do anything that's suicidal. And anybody that tells you pulling guard is suicidal, it's like, why is it so hard for people with great guards to pull guard? They sit on their ass. If you pull guard and you didn't clinch them, they're going to declinch and walk away and make you stand up. If it's suicidal, as soon as you sit on your ass, the other guy would jump on you and go, you dumbass,
right.
This
Boom,
is so
boom, boom.
suicidal,
Done.
you dumbass.
Done.
But Vinny can't sit on his ass, no one's going to go on his guard. Aoki sits on his ass, no one's going to go on his guard. They're going to run from it. So how is it suicidal? It's suicidal if your guard sucks and you pull guard. You just committed suicide. Yes. But if your guard is good, it's hard to pull guard. It's hard. They'll stay away from you. They time you pulling guard and they get away. They don't want to be in your guard. So you want a guard so dangerous that people wouldn't even jump on top if you sat on your ass. That's
Excellent.
what you want.
So for this portion of the show, it'll be quick fire. You're going to put yourself on blast. Okay? The choice is either or.
Okay.
Gracie or Machado? Who do you choose, Gracie or Machado?
Jean-Jacques Machado, are you kidding?
Sakuraba or Matt Hughes? Either or, brother.
Sakuraba.
John Jones, Anderson Silva.
John Jones.
Why John Jones?
Because he's black.
Okay. Mike Tyson or Roy Jones Jr.?
Mike Tyson.
All the way. Pride or UFC?
UFC.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you.
Plug 1 2 TV.